before, Soniqs coming here, for my money, isn't really because it's, you know, this is one of our strongest maps. It's because it's one of WOL's weaker.
Yeah, I mean, you can pick a few from Wolves in terms of weak maps.
Yeah, but this is that sort of, you know, when you get the circles and you cross them over and you look for what's in the middle. Skyscraper.
Another Yana ban. Similar trend. I wonder if maybe again...
Doesn't matter when...
See the Souls ban? Could happen.
This Valkyrie.
Another thing that I didn't get to mention as well with the Souls ban on Cafe, and it came out, of course, from Soniqs. What was one operator that Citizen just was excelling on? Nook. People don't know, you can see the Nook gadget if you're using Souls' gadget.
Yep.
So it's a hard counter. It's a hard counter. So you can see that, again, I think Soniqs they're really trying to just benefit themselves as best as they can. Is just remove counters from operators that they will excel in, Nook, of course, being one of them.
Not to put you on a spot. So you're saying all of their bans are built around Ben Citizen Macmillan?
You play to your strengths.
Your favorite player?
You always play to your strengths. And that is what Soniqs are doing.
Yeah, okay. I just want
That's the way it works.
Because I want to get the quote.
You know, it's...
I want to get the audio.
You just have to, like, I think if you're Soniqs, you have to realize the player that you have in your hands. And he is special. He's special.
Yeah, I'm generating the quotes for when you eventually make your documentary about Citizen. The greatest of all time.
I've known him the longest out of anyone.
Biography by Demo.
You know? People forget that. I know it was original. Yeah, he wasn't originally called Citizen, by the way. I know the original.
Oh. Let's not reveal it, though.
No, that'll be for the documentary.
That's for the documentary. Tune in. Coming to a screen near you. Hey!
That'll be Chambers will bring me on after he's lifted the hammer, and we'll find out then.
What screen? Oh, you're calling Soniqs as the winner. Oh, we'll get into that later. What screen are we looking at? We're looking at the one in karaoke. What's the lyrics? Wolves on defense. Will they be able to get a little bit more out of it? We didn't get, obviously, the full taste. Only one round of the 4 we saw on the previous map.
So, this is where the meta's kind of changed with Skyscraper. One big change that people might see is if you look at karaoke bomb site, if you look at karaoke, you will see that there's 2 reinforced walls towards top black. I'm sure in many people's ranked games, you would open the left side up, put a deployable shield, and try and hold the staircase. Not anymore. Top black staircase takes are so easy from an attacking perspective. All you have to do is clear the shield, and essentially you have lost full bomb site control. So teams now, you reinforce it off, you don't give them access to that. If teams want to take top black, then they're walking down Death Corridor, which has about 20 different angles you can get shot from. So the name of the game is extend the dragon, extend the drum, and hold all your worth.
And that is why the takes sort of turn into this. You will start on the opposite end. You'll see it for a lot of teams on the opposite end. If we swap over to this as the site as well, build your way east to west, to west to east, depending on where the eventual location is. Get yourself in just to the top, the red square, the stairs there, and try and swing against the shield in Dragon is a lot of teams' first point.
And another thing as well with Skyscraper is I feel as though Geisha has just been forced by the defenders that the attackers have to go into Geisha now. I think that is the room that you must take. Reason why we're seeing bandit bans sometimes in Skyscraper is to stop the bandit tricking. You know, the Geisha wall can be bandit tricked very easily, which I'm sure we'll probably see P4 do. So it's actually warranted bans because of that.
All right, Mowgli, will you be the first point of call? The entry statistic, and your statistics, to be fair, I believe you were the top-rated player from the previous game based on the old graphic, and you need to see if you can try and keep that up and hope the rest of Wolves can get the pack behind you. Gunnar, he's looking for the first fight right against that Azami. He's going to give himself a little bit more wiggle room and width. Citizen is on the line. They can try and pop some control here of the space and see if they can go for a bit of a 3-2-1, but look at this. The support comes back round. They're buying as much time here as possible.
Again, another worry. No nades from Soniqs, and those Azami barriers, they're going to be tricky to deal with. They are essentially 2 big deployable shields that you can hide behind and play around. So I think Soniqs trying to brute force their way through that, I don't think it's going to work.
They went for the pickup there. They covered it with the smoke. They're going to hope the player drifts right back in, but Gunnar doesn't have a huge amount to work with. Neither does the Azami. They're just buying themselves a second. Mowgli sort of went, I'm out of here. Too much pressure, and fair enough. 2 minutes have ticked away. You've got 1 kill out of it. Look who's gone. Half of the hard breach. Now Geo is going to have to see if he can try and utilize that. The dedication comes towards Geisha. As you said, they're going to try and force it, and the defenders aren't going to try and force anything back. They've pushed into drum as well. Suddenly they've swung themselves here from a single front. There's Citizen getting Mowgli off the back of the board. Pulls away. before he suffers on the long-range fight that Gio is going to see if he can try and step back into. There's movement underneath from Gunnar as well, who takes care of Shinka, pushing up the core of the stairs as well. They said, well, we've kind of drummed. We're going to beat you all over the opposite side. But Bibu, oh, he's around on the back stairs, slinks past the barbed wire, gets the drop onto the first, has the cross angle. Citizen, he's going to have to try and fight his way out with the angle towards the stairs. Gio going down, though, with a little bit of a sliver and a slink on the way back. Can they try and find a way into Karaoke? P4 has a different idea, locks them out, leaving just Citizen left standing. Gets one, looks for the second, cannot quite find it!
Close. Very close. That flank from Bibu really shut them down. I think, again, the time for Soniqs just didn't have enough of it. Soniqs going for that sweep across, which, again, is expected, but they just don't have the utility to go for the Azami. Only had the one set of nades. It was used very early on. I didn't even really see... didn't really see the nades be used by Gunnar. I'm wondering if it was... Because they opened the wall on top red. If it was to get rid of any electrification there, maybe? No, the EMP grenades from... the EMP grenades from Lion, no? So I'm just trying to piece things together. That shouldn't be... That shouldn't be an issue. I mean, Thatcher is open as well. Shouldn't be an issue. Just didn't have the nades at the disposal. And I think as soon as that happened, I think they did realize, okay, we can't go there. Then they went Geisha. They had to go Geisha. I just think they should have went Geisha from the get-go. That's my opinion. Maybe leave one guy, two guys towards east, then send everyone's Geisha. Geisha is the key room that you must take if you want to attack Karaoke T. This, not so much. Geisha, you don't need to go for Geisha for this one.
5 seconds left before insertion.
We'll see what they opt for, because it's either usually, to be honest, it's Geisha or it's hitting the quad wall and the triple wall even, getting that popped open and sort of forcing the play space of, you know, that corner right buried into the site. You can put some pressure from underneath on it. You can try and force them out. That's why the hatch is open. They have themselves a little bit of wiggle room. Yeah, this bomb site can be tricky. A lot of things can go wrong. Mostly, it is just struggling with getting the walls open. That's where the attackers, I think, do struggle. If you can successfully get walls open, no problem, because I think it gives you a lot of breathing room, gives you plenty of space to use. That single wall's deadly. I think if that single wall gets opened, it puts everyone on edge. Yep. Because it kind of creates now a war on two fronts. You have the main triple wall that's going to be the next thing to get opened up, and then you have a wall directly behind the defenders. You have to try and hold two different angles at one point. It's very difficult. So that's the pressure that gets applied to defenders. Wall's going to be opened up now. Yeah, I worry for Wolves now. Walls have been opened up from Soniqs. I'm sure they'll go below now. They have the buck who can buck below. They obviously can send Citizen below with the nades. If they can get a couple of picks here, a couple of kills here or there to really lighten up, I suppose, the anchor players for Wolves, Soniqs just walking on plan. Bibu, as I said, there is a bit of play that you can do here underneath to try and force that external double disc. OC4 already been popped open though. Rexon has got that and gets it done even more. Soniqs, they're not one to entirely throw themselves in. They love to get the intel game, and Citizen might see if he can try and find a bit of the intel here underneath. There is obviously Bibu as the loose thread, the possibility of the player waiting, watching, and holding. Yeah, if you actually look upstairs and kind of, if we can get a top-down view of the 4 players right now from Wolves, you can see they're kind of like in a square. They're all covering one another. They're all kind of covering a corner. Right now we're seeing one of those corners actually try and go downstairs and help Bibu. This is what I like to see from Wolves, is potential for refrags. There's pressure coming around on the back end. Gunner's going to look for the fight. There's a bit of movement on the opposite end, and there's P4 with the cover, hit the hatch drop and drop the player really too. Good. Wolves, they've been able to find a little bit more. There's still 2 Soniqs players here underneath Citizen on one side and Grixer on the other, as Rexon suffers on the breach itself, looking for a swing on an angle, just trying to draw some attention, but with him now gone, well, the 2 remaining Soniqs players are going to have to not only try and climb the hill of the site itself, but also the 5 remaining players across the board. They might actually be able to get the player back up. They're going desperately for the run. There it is, the recollection. They didn't go full hyper-aggressive there, Wolves. They didn't try and swing into the fight. There's almost a freebie. Reloading. Just saw the leg, but then P4 did get the wherewithal to fight back. 20 seconds. What are you going to do here, Soniqs? All 4 players for the defense upstairs now.
back to the safety of the bomb site. And yes, Soniqs don't really have a lot of options. That Azami Batter here as well is just going to kill off any potential of walking into office. And Rexon is essentially pushing into a freeway crossfire. And yeah, gets slaughtered immediately. Shinka with another one. Great round from Wolves. Exactly what I wanted to see from them. Being able to adapt to one another, help each other out. Bibu was caught between a rock and a hard place. 2 players straight on it, downstairs, helping him out. And that was the kind of system that I wanted to point to. They're kind of all together. They're ready for that. You've seen that square upstairs. They can drop off. They can help each other. That's what I want to see more from Wolves. Soniqs, again, refrags have not been here today for me. That's been my main concern, is they're losing players and not gaining anything back.
Yeah, well, we'll see if they can try and push it here on the tertiary site. I mean, Skyscraper, it's not easy to attack. There's no two ways about it. It's, you know, you can count the amount of teams that are very confident and comfortable attacking this site on about one hand. Across the whole scene of Siege, you're looking at generally a bit more preference into your defense. This site, for me, and my money, is going to be the sort of telltale tale of how this might go. We have to remember the first round almost did come back, and then Bibu sparked to a bit of life. He was actually at the start of that round down to about half health as he got sprayed through an engagement he didn't quite get the full bite into, then retreated, and then was able to have the big impact. Soniqs are seeing these opportunities. Is it that Wolves have suddenly woken up a little bit more to it and are getting a bit more mobile?
Mobile Wolf.
A wolf.
What am I doing? Yeah, Wolfpack on the move.
Yep.
And that's what they need. They need to play flexible. I think for a map like Skyscraper, you need to be on your toes.
Yep.
At all moments that you can. Obviously, looking at Kitchen Barbecue, not that good of a bomb site. I think if you lose the upstairs control, you lose the hatch. That looks directly onto a bomb site, which we know isn't always the greatest to really defend with. That's the really only concern that you would have if you go on this bomb site, is just defending upstairs as best as you can. I'm a bit shocked that they haven't went for any wall denial, such as the Bandit, to try and Bandit trick inside of Geisha. Again, Geisha, for this attack, is a necessity. It is the room that you want to have from a defender's perspective. Or attacker's perspective. I mean, either way, they both want it. You both want it.
The perspective we get is the break that comes through on towards Geisha.
Perspective is we've wall hacks.
Yeah, the break comes across this verticality. Bibu's going to see if he can sort of sit and wait and bay for as much attention as possible before maybe getting a rotate and pulling himself back out. Verticality is important here. There is solids underneath. There's a bit of a drive, and P4 is instantly trying to put some pressure back onto the window here.
I have a feeling it might just be a quick rush in again from Soniqs, which is what they were doing really well on Cafe. Seeing an opportunity in it and excelling in it.
Yeah. They'll look for a window, they'll look for a route through, and sometimes the direct route is the way to a man's heart, soul, kidney, and liver. P4 knows where gunners are, but Geo does get that back. A quick response.
Side player dead.
Yeah, he might try and just get a quick break onto this castle and maybe swing around
backstab
behind it. Hope that he can do a little bit of damage, but nobody's going to try and move in intently. A lot of reinforcements, the swing on the shield and the pull back, actually, just as a player, and to maybe have a drift closer on. They're still sort of sitting, waiting, wiggling. But currently, they haven't been forced out entirely of their positions here.
Oh, IQ just misses Mowgli. He's crouched, so he doesn't see the angle. Mowgli sees him and picks him apart. It's going to be a down, though, not a finish off onto Grixer. 3 versus 4, unless Mowgli can secure the kill. I think, does he go for the jump out here? Maybe, nope. Thinks against that, probably could have gotten the kill and then runs straight into the crossfire of Geo. 50 seconds to go. 3v2, unless somebody wants to rotate and get Grixer, but I don't really think they need to. I still think they have enough in the tank to see us over the line.
They do, but when you have the option of, I guess, you know, the 4 versus 2 versus the 3 versus 2, you kind of want all strength going, especially when you still have 30 seconds. Grixer is picked back up. Citizen was out there. Shinka's going to see if he can maybe get a bit of revenge and find the full stop to the story of that round, but in the meantime, Rise has gone down in the site, so there's not too much that you can do exploratory. Over here, the swing round, the first fight is Shinka's.
Oh no.
Kills Geo.
What?
That was, I think, elsewhere on the map, on the second story down to the top. They've picked it up. He was concerned. They get the kit back. That was a little bit of a moment there, but Rexon, he's going to get that picked up, get the plant, and get that covered. Shinka is above. We talked about the importance of verticality. It's a post-plant, no. That makes this very risky. A second difference there, and that could have been a huge Shinka clutch. But there is still time. There is still the possibility of some intel. These pre-opened angles. There's the first fight. Gets it. Gets rid of Rexon and pushes them into the 1 versus 1. They've gone deep all the way down the prep line, holding off on the angle and waiting for the call, the intel, and look at that.
It's a good angle.
Big old opening, ready for them to see if they can swing it. Shinka could go right here and see if he can force the fight elsewhere. He might try and long arm, but he knows they're watching and he knows they're listening. 15 seconds though, and in that time he's got to get it back to the kit itself. Can he long arm it from that angle? Oh, will that be just enough? You got to make a motion, you got to run, hold the shift key and hold the trigger. Grixer just clutches it out.
Yeah, good work from Grixer. Good angle, knows how to play that one. What you expect to see from Soniqs, getting that diffuser down. They're not like Wolves, they can actually hold it pretty well. But yeah, that's a plant anyway. That's been the first plant, hasn't it, for the attacks in Skyscraper?
It has.
So I mentioned it's not really a map that you would see the plant go down all too often.
I'm still curious about the team kill that happened.
I think it was because it was Grixer and Citizen jumped in the same window, didn't they? From into the kind of little restaurant area, and I think that they might have shot at Shinka, and then a stray bullet has happened.
But it was Geo that got the kill.
Yeah, that's why it's confusing, I think.
Because Geo, we last saw with the kit down on the prep line.
Yeah.
On the far end of kitchen.
Because it was definitely Grixer who jumped in that window with Citizen.
And then Rexon was above.
So he's hit a stray shot somehow, and it's hit Geo. Something's happened.
Poor Geo.
He's caught a stray.
Well, it happens.
Seems to happen to me a lot with these desks as well. I just catch random strays from other talent.
Yeah, I mean...
Why is that?
Well, listen, I've got to sometimes do like an outreach program.
Wait, are you telling me that I'm catching... Do you shoot strays at me for no reason?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, why not? You're an easy target.
Hang on a minute.
You know Parker's straightened his hair today?
Yeah. Looks like a emo.
I thought you looked like an English teacher.
Yeah.
Like the cool English teacher, you know? If you want to see Parker straightened hair, go to his Twitter. And other such...
You don't need to see that image, everyone.
And other
so
such throwaways. Hey, 2-1 Wolves. They still have an advantage. As I said, it was down to that site, and it was still close. You find yourself in a post-plant 1 versus 1. A second difference, maybe even half that, and they might have had an angle on the diffuser planter anyway from above, and then that would have been all she wrote, a 3-0.
So they brought in more nades, which means they sacrificed the EMP grenades because Citizen was on the line the last time they attacked this. So they're bringing more nades, which is what we wanted to see, so they can actually deal with the Izami hold that moves in towards drum. So that should be a lot better for them. You would expect that to happen. But you can just see the power of Izami. You can see it adds an extra layer to everything that happens. It just keeps stacking up amongst one another. We see this all the time from Skyscraper. I'm pretty sure the last time that me and you cast the Skyscraper was that G2 BDS game, if I'm not mistaken.
Deep cut, but...
Remember that one? The horrible game of Skyscraper.
Wasn't it when Skyscraper had just come in, though?
No, it was stage 3.
Oh, well. Horrible game of Skyscraper. I mean, they happen. Not everyone is good at sort of attacking Sky. Not everyone can sort of piece things together. And well, Geo gets a perfect start. Mowgli gets a perfect bit of revenge. They lose Geo, but they do get rid of Shinka. However, the cost of the smoke and the thermite is one of those that would probably be argued by a lot of people for a long time. What is worse to lose in this situation?
You have the ace, so
with one Selma left.
It's not too bad. And realistically, in terms of Soniqs, they just need the geisha wall open. That's the only wall that needs to be opened up. 2 quick kills by said ace. Makes
you have the ace.
you just don't open up the walls, you open up all the kills, and then Gunner hits them coming in through black stairs, and that's it. Realistically now for Soniqs, they have full upstairs control. Bibu has to go for a long old flank, but doesn't even get that close. Citizens down there sniffing them out. Soniqs, quick round.
2 apiece. We're back even now, and 2 attack rounds for a lot of teams on Skyscraper. They're pretty confident with that. They're pretty comfortable with that. You move on to defense with that, and you think you should be able to lock it out.
Soniqs today feels very blink and you miss it, doesn't it? They just, all of a sudden, they've won the round.
Oh, well, the thing about Soniqs, they're one of those teams where you want to sort of get the VODs and look at it afterwards. Like, obviously...
Yeah, we've seen a few times today already. How have you got there?
During groups, you're sort of, because there's so many games, we only have a couple of observers, you don't get the full taste of all the moving parts. That's the sort of downside to Siege. But there are VODs at some points, often released to the public. They are given to people, and Soniqs are always high on that list of like, I really want to watch these. I want to see if I can teach what they do to the people I play ranked with.
Good luck.
My friends who play...
friends?
Yeah. I've been getting them into
Look at
Siege.
you.
I've been getting them to Siege.
Look at you.
They're watching our site, which is good because normally they say, if you're a caster, a play-by-play especially, try and explain it as if you're explaining the game to your grandma.
Well, whenever I cast, right, little tip for any casters out there.
Please give me a tip.
Always cast as though your dad's watching.
Yeah. You want to try and explain it. And I
works really well for me because Paul's always watching.
Paul,
I always cast as if Paul's.
Yeah, I get to cast as if my gold tier friends are watching and sort of try and explain.
Are your gold tier friends watching?
Yeah, they are, I think.
Good.
Yeah. I gave them a breakdown on all the quick teams. Tell them. But unfortunately, after yesterday, a lot of them have become Cyclops fans, and you have to sort of.
No.
Explain the heartbreak of being a Cyclops.
Listen to me very, very carefully, Emmy's friends. Listen very carefully, okay?
10 seconds left.
That was just a bad BDS.
No, I love Cyclops.
telling you.
But if you are a Cyclops fan, you will suffer heartbreak a lot.
Do not back down.
Usually their own doing. Anyway, and this is a good time and a good showdown. And Soniqs are a good sort of explanation team. Wolves are sometimes a good explanation team as well, but they just, you know, they're still sort of suffering. They've obviously just come off the back of a timeout. As I said, 2 attack grounds is sort of par for the course. It's what you want. Wolves, they've lost 2 in a row now, and they don't want things to keep going that way.
I do worry about Wolves on the attack. I think they need to get a good, healthy defense to really give them a good fighting chance.
Yep.
Soniqs, interesting pickup from Citizen, was doing really well for him. He's on the Amaru. Amaru's an operator that I don't really see on Skyscraper. It's not one that you would think is going to excel. There's really only one window you go in from, and that is karaoke window.
Well,
which okay, so I think where did he come in from? He came in, okay, so he came in from the bottom black window.
Bottom black. And he's going to see if he can maybe try and get a quick strike here.
Yeah.
You can sort of circumvent a lot of the softs, the pace there as well. You can get into position and hope that they're still maybe even doing softs on this side. That's the idea, is that if they're doing this stretch extension just for noise, they'll probably do that last. Gunner, in the meantime, and Geo, look at the positions of 2 of them though. What they want to do here is isolate the push on the rest of it. They have maybe Mowgli now stuck in a situation where he either has to take the drop or they can force him into one of the remaining guns. That's what they do. He slips on by though, and is able to escape before the pressure gets too hot.
Yeah, if you actually look at Dragon, for example, this is going to be the main room that you'll see Soniqs try and really target into. There's only just a shield. That's it. There's a shield. There's a few Zami barriers being up. Is there an ADS there as well? There's one ADS. Oh, 2 ADSs.
And
okay.
a frost mat just under the close window as well. So they have some protection, but still, what they want to
2 flashbangs and nade, and it's gone. So.
Yeah, the players got out of there. Here's the first nade that's going to roll its way. There's the reveal on the first ADS. The second is a drone, but within 10 seconds, that ADS will be back popped, and they'll have to rotate. He does have some protection as well on his back wall. The terrace wall is muted, and
that's poor. That's poor.
And that's a frost mat as well. Well, you said they didn't have enough. Wolves say they had just enough.
No, that's, yeah. Gunner needs to be thinking about what's he doing there. You know, you should be aware that if there is going to be the shield, you'd expect there's going to be, you know, something there. Wolves have shown that they've been running Wamai a few times.
Yep.
So you should be expecting some form of burn denial. You should be calling Citizen over. Can you burn for me? You've got flashbangs, Citizen. You know, use them. Let me nade. You're straight into Dragon. So yeah, rookie mistake there from Gunner, has to be said.
Mowgli, he's able to try and dig himself a little bit closer, get a bit of width here. Rise obviously still, as he said, in that pressure position inside Dragon, but with the drive coming against him, gets the down on Rexon before he's blinded. Can't get the lock in. A second blind will go across. They're seeing if they can just try and dig their way. The C4 wasn't quite enough. Citizen, he's pre-firing every angle, but it doesn't have a huge amount of blood in the tank, and even less in the timer. Mowgli gets the double across the back, and Wolves find their round after the timeout. Will they be able to get the very important 4th on this half?
Poor round from Soniqs. The attack that last time they went with the single wall, opened up in towards the double wall, very generic stuff. Didn't work for them then. Now they've went for the challenge. They've tried to sweep across from the other side of the map. They've tried to get in the Amaru early doors. But yeah, just that not being able to clear out Dragon it's a shock for me. And I think that Soniqs need to do better. They need to do better.
Well, they have some options here. They'll see if they can try and push themselves one more time. We go back to Geisha. It's been 50-50 across the board so far. The first was because of a flank on Bibu and ended in time. The only round that's ended in a timeout across the 2 maps, or the 1.5 map we've seen so far. So, what'll be the change? We have Citizen back onto the Nook, back onto an operator that's done them a little bit more. The Lion was thought about for a second before it was top 2. The Flores at the bottom of the board, see if they can maybe try and drive some of these positions. I mean, that's also quite good at getting rid of his army. who's not there. His army has actually been swapped off. Mowgli is going with something a little bit different, a little bit more mobile.
Yeah, I'm really shocked about that as well, because I think that's Asami is crucial for holding that drum, holding in towards that dragon, and to drop that is, it tells me one of two things. One, it tells me that they probably think that Soniqs haven't really went all in on really going for drum. You've seen Soniqs, yeah, they've kind of maybe lingered and then they rotate to Geisha.
Yep.
But not only that, the Goo Mines are going to be great for a couple of solo plays that Citizen has been making, for a couple of solo plays that even Rexon has been making, you know. We see them just appear with a few kills. Legion's not too bad in that department, just to give you a little bit of a sound indication. It lets you know if someone's going for a crouch walk. It's not a bad change. I think they're adapting well. I think they're able to see what Soniqs are doing well and what Soniqs aren't maybe doing as so well, and that is, you know, kind of the utility sweep. They haven't really been interested in that, so what's the point of bringing the Asami, I guess?
Mowgli still playing a similar position here, but obviously has to play it a lot further away with a lot less width than with otherwise. We've seen Rexon getting the steady approach across the back end. They're putting the pressure a little bit more flat. It's more similar to their first take here, where they're driving across towards Dragon, towards Drum, the traditional break here across the board. Mowgli gets rid of that drone. There's still drones worrying their way. One's heading up underneath and towards the back end, and Mowgli for now is just happy to fill this with as much danger as possible. Citizen suffers a scrape against Mowgli on the far end. He's going to go a little bit wider and hope he can get a bit of a reveal. There's a drone just tucked around in the corner that might hit the audio of the movement and motion, but otherwise, yeah, still no intense pressure.
All you need to do is try and get a nade, and you have one still remaining from Gunner. Let's just hope they can burn the Wamai disc this time around. Mowgli holding firm, and this is a really tricky position to actually attack in if you're an attacker coming in from the army side of things. Basically, Mowgli will see you before you see him, if he is playing the angle behind the drum, and yep, there you go, you can see him, but no, loses out on it. Wow, Mowgli, I'm shocked at that. Surely you get at least one out of that, but nope, gets nothing. Yeah,
a bit of a missed moment there. P4's not going to try and, well, can't trigger any of that wall now. It's all broken apart. He hoped someone might hop in and see if he can get some revenge, but it's the coverage. The window breaks right next to him on Karaoke, looking for the upside down repelled. They have an awareness of the player tucked in the corner. They've got one on Bibu, who gets dropped as the E1D comes out behind. He's to your right, and he somehow whiffs most of the shots and doesn't get the escape. Gunner takes care of that. It's a technical 4 versus 2 now. It's a real one with Citizen almost the next off the board. Shinka holding onto the back of Black Stairs. It's 28 seconds to see if they can try and keep the lockdown all the way on the back end of the corner. Shinka does get one. Gunner is gone on the far end. They're angling themselves up towards potentially gold. But the hold that Wolves have is something that is stopping them getting a direct route through, as Rives can do this. Wiggle around on the opposite end, caught by the side, the wing clipped by Grixer. Gonna see if they can stick the plant. Shinka not in a position to stop it, forced further and further back, has to pop that round the corner. The kit is just a few centimeters away, but so is Citizen.
Again, I think Soniqs doing really well to give themselves enough time. You can see where they've learned from the first round, where they were running out of time to get that diffuser down. A lot more control, the composure coming through once again. Wolves, yeah, Mowgli missing out on that first kill for me is a big one. P4 missing the shots here in the window. Moments like this really changes it. Like, much as what we talk about, you know, strategies and this and that. If you can't hit your shots, you don't kill. That's it. There's no other two ways about it. You have to always remember that this game, you shoot people. That's it. Is that not how? But you tell me this. If you were to describe this game, would you not say you shoot people? Would you not? You would. And that's what it's all about.
You would describe it as a first-person shooter, yeah?
What did you say?
You described the game as a first-person shooter.
Thank you. Shooter. That's what I'm trying to say. You shoot people. But that's just, if you don't hit your shots, don't hit your shots. That's as basic as I can make this game. Don't matter how genius you are, if you can't do it, you can't do it. You know, if you can't shoot, you coach. If you can't coach, you analyze. If you can't analyze, you cast.
5 seconds.
If you can't cast, you observe. Oh, they don't like that one. Oh, they didn't like that one.
You can't observe, you host?
Yeah, fair enough.
Poor Milosh.
Yep.
Milosh is the best of all of us. Not at Siege, though.
I thought you were talking about Chambers there for a minute. I didn't clock Milosh.
Ian Chambers is the worst of the talent at Siege, because he has a real life outside of Siege.
I brought him into a game of Siege, and it instantly gave him recruit, and from there I was like, oh my goodness. Because if you instantly get recruit, you don't actually have an operator. And I was like, That's how we knew he was.
Yeah. He doesn't need anyone else. All right. What do Wolves need? I'm going to sort of say this round. I know it's the first.
Well, I need to see how they approach this first.
Yeah, there needs to be some pressure that comes across the board. We've talked about the similarities of the hold here. You've got the player inside drum. Yeah, you've got yourself locked in. The attackers, you just sort of gestured. It's a very similar setup. The Lion, the E1 days swinging. There's a fight, and Mowgli.
What's Rexon doing? Yeah,
he makes a great connection there with a header Rexon. He's much sharper through that door as he was the opposite side of it. Citizen is now going to step into that place that Mowgli was playing a little bit before, but with the cost of one body already lost.
Questionable from Rexon, just stood in the middle of a room for no real reason. That drops you down a man. It means that Citizen has to play that position. It means that he can't hold elsewhere. You will notice that you have the opened wall towards Drum and Geisha. That's the way Soniqs are playing this one. I don't think that Wolves, I think Wolves, they reinforced that for the majority, didn't they? So it just gives you that extra coverage that you can have in the door. And it means that Mowgli doesn't just have like a one-way gunfight. He has two angles to worry about. Yeah,
it gives you a little bit more width. It's not the easiest to hold on to, but whether they try to play a bandit trick or not, it's Geo that actually suffers on the bandit underneath. Swings up Black, back towards the top, locked in with the shield and the swing round with a little bit more wiggle room across the top. They've got slightly different structural changes in that case.
Look at Gunnar right now. Gunnar, honestly, I was going to say he can maybe go for the jump out, but he's been droned out. You know, there's not really any claymores being brought in the form for Wolves, and, you know, one jump out on that Geisha balcony, it can really slow down your time.
Geo, he's looking for a second fight there, but it's Citizen that finds Mowgli up towards the top of drum. They're hunting for the players. They're hopping across the board. Bibu gets Citizen from the push, and suddenly they've got a little bit of ground back. Geo does go down. Rise, he's tucked so close towards the side. He's concerned about the rotate around the back. He takes a little bit of a dangerous sprint there and suffers the damage, gets repositioned, as does Gunnar suddenly. There's a lot of ground, a lot of land being handed back and forth. A bit of a swing round. 2 versus 2 with the single player. Gunnar, he's waiting, holding, and they slip on by. Grixer, what can you do here? Gunnar does get caught out. It's Grixer. The 2 versus 1. Technically, Geo is in Narnia. They're not getting him back up. They're trying to get the kit planted. There's the reveal on the player. The red pings are coming across the board. He just needs to find the man that's head down. He hears the audio from the opposite side. The pings are still there. He's going for the swing. The first fight. No. He cannot get it. Rise!
Ran out of ammo. In his 416. All the info in the world also. And he can't finish it out just because he forgot to reload. Whew. Close again for Wolves. Very, very close. Big plays from Rhines that has to be said. Killing Gunnar and then also getting that cover. Wow. Great work. Wolves, I think, again, that opening kill department has done wonders for them. Very consistent in that. And this time they will close out with a round win, which we didn't say that in Cafe.
Yeah, no, it's that sort of maybe a change of pace. I said for me, it's an important round for them to win, as every round should be. But coming into this half, they need the mental game. Okay, sure, it's the first defense for Soniqs. You're not expected to always win that. That should be technically the Soniqs' strongest side. But still, if there's not a fight, there's not a lot of hope, and there was more than enough came from the guns and the barrels of Rise, biting back. Still some motions by Geo, which gave you a couple of flashbacks towards Cafe, the map before. Did some damage underneath and got caught up on the rotate towards the top of Black by Rise, but still, is that a little bit of a red flag?
Again, I think Wolves, it wasn't clean. It wasn't like, wow, great round. It was lucky enough kind of situation.
They fought through it. They sort of bitterly fought through it. Their last stop on the journey, it's sort of different to how they were before. Their last stop on the journey this time was getting the plant down.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was much earlier and then they had the retake that kept going wrong. Here they made a lot of work done first.
Potential bandit trick could come in. You can see the bandit, instead of being stationed towards the double wall, towards office, instead he's going to be beside the single wall. Obviously, the only thing he has to worry about is getting naded from below.
Yep.
But there's only 2 nades being brought by Wolves, which is a little bit under, I think, the average. Generally, it is, you know, 2 sets of nades that you would like to bring in on a map like Skyscraper.
There's a bit of movement underneath the site as well. Oh, then there's the fight that happens across the stairs. It's Gunnar.
There's the nade gone.
Wins it out. The
easy bandit trick.
There's the bandit
Brilliant.
trick, the catch, and well, they thought they'd read it, but they were able to get the bandit trick off and get the player that went for the swing on the bandit as well.
And I mentioned this whenever Soniqs were attacking. It can be a really easy bomb site to attack if you open the walls. If you cannot open the walls, you will struggle to do anything. Now they've had to rotate another player below. Mowgli's used all of his breaching rounds on getting rid of the bandit charges. Now the thing that they're going to struggle with, how do you deal with the shields? How do you deal with the bulletproof cams? All the other utility now that's going to be up, the Azami barriers.
Yep.
They're not going to have enough in the tank.
The pressure comes on the opposite end. There's no jam, there's no electrics to stop this because of, you assume, well, just this. Shooting through, making things stay soft. It's not the most common way of doing it, but it's the way that they're going to go against it. It's not an easy wall to hold on to. As I said, without ever entering the building, especially with Ash on the board, you can get rid of anything that's otherwise stopping that wall get opened. It's not clean, though, and that's the change. That's why they've gone soft and why they've just shotgunned through and removed everything.
That's brilliant. Look at the mess of the breach that they've done, mostly because he was able to pick off one of the Selma charges. It doesn't really give them a way in. A C4, though, doesn't actually nail anything. Jump in from Shinka, will find one, but obviously that other door being blocked in. Geo runs to him and just gives himself up.
Yeah, Shinka able to get to there in the bit of the chaos that's coming on the back end. As you said, the C4 made a door from what was scraps before, but 30 seconds in the 3 versus 2. Shinka and Rise. Rise, the man of the moment of the previous round. Shinka definitely having a little bit more of an impact this time. They're going to see if they can sort of tuck and dig themselves. They're just close around the Azami barricades, slowing things down just a little. They're still setting themselves in the engagement. It's scrappy, but they're in through the door and tucked behind the one bit of solid that might really offer them anything. He's still not confident, though. Wants to see if he can get one more, and there it is. Now the plant is being covered just behind him. Rise, he's tucked in, he's holding the close fight. Gets one more. Rise, he is ready to keep pushing the team through this engagement. A post plant with Citizen. The XEU now NA star, seeing if he can try and break some of this back and keep waving a flag that we are better, but they're not this time. Rise.
Smile. No way. Do you ever win that? You don't win that. You don't win that.
Rise does.
You know he's the oldest player at this event.
Oldest player at the event, yeah.
I can't believe it. I'll be honest, this from Geo. What's he thinking? That's like you're sat there on Christmas Day and the turkeys came up to you and just died. Just take me. That's what it's like. You're picking your turkeys, just came up and just gave itself away. Take me. I'll sacrifice myself.
A timeout called by Soniqs here. They're 2 rounds down. They've lost their 2 opening.
Why did I agree to cast? Why did I do this to myself? Why?
Enough, because it's funny content. If you're unaware, the 3rd map, should we get there, should Wolves get the 2 more to push us over the precipice, their first map is the best they've done across the 3 maps they've played so far. 4 maps, technically. Should we get there, is it Oregon?
Yep.
Is where we find ourselves. Much more of an even battleground, I think it's fair to call.
Expect to, yeah. It's one of the maps that we know Wolves definitely can't play.
Yep. And that list isn't massively long. What Wolves do, they can do excellently. But as we sort of said at the beginning of this, their best of 3s is usually where they fall apart. It's usually where the wheels start to come off a bit and where they're pressured in ways that they're not quite happy about.
You don't win championships off best of 1s.
No.
You win championships off best of 3s and best of 5s. You know, we sit there and speculate about your Wolves, oh, they need to get the best of 3s in shape. You do wonder, what would they be like in a best of 5?
Not great.
That's what you have to look at it in that regard. Soniqs, worry. Just gave themselves away for no real reason. And again, how are they allowing the Wolves players to rack up all those kills and no response? The refrags again, I keep saying it, it's the one thing that Soniqs just have not done enough for me in one department. I think Soniqs have played great. I've loved the strats that they've come up with, the way they've been able to adapt and quickly execute when needed. But the refrags are going to cost you.
Yeah.
Refrags is a very crucial thing in this game, is you don't let your opponent run away with it. Don't let your opponent gain a lot of momentum. Don't let your opponent get momentum back. Remember, that was a situation where it's not getting refrags, like you go from a 5v5, oh, it's a 2v5. You went from your leading 5v2 into a 1v2.
Citizen gets the opener onto Mowgli, sprayed through as they're approaching the window, and that is huge. There's also been obviously a couple of changes here. We're on Barbecue, we're on a site with a slightly different energy before it, but that is the opener. Mowgli has been one of the few consistencies that I think Wolves have been able to sort of bank behind. Obviously, Rise popping off over the past couple of rounds. You know, he's had 3, he's had 4. Huge kills across the 2 that's driven. You disagree with my Mowgli point?
Yeah, I don't.
But you're comparing Mowgli to his in Season 2 as usual. I think.
I mean, I'm putting Mowgli, for what Mowgli was brought in to do and the caliber of that player, Mowgli should be doing what Spoit has done for Koi, what EFAC has done for BDS. If we judge him in that same caliber, would you say he is a consistent threat as what those two players bring to their teams? I would say no.
Throughout this tournament, I would say out of Wolves, he has been the one consistent. He was the only one that was positive yesterday. He was the only one that was positive pretty much in the previous map as well. He's the only one that's kept that gun game going against a team like Soniqs as well, where they have, you know, some of the best gunners in the world, depending on who you ask. You have to still have that functioning, and that is the problem. Has been that the other guns, the older guns like, you know, Bibu and P4, throughout the season they can perform so much better, so much bigger. They haven't quite hit it. Rise starting to spark in, Shinka starting to spark into life.
Yeah,
he's so much bigger for Wolves right now.
Well, the same way you talk about Mowgli, you can't have someone who might be good one day and might not so be good the other day. I think consistency is what makes a great player in my eyes. But you know me, I'm very specific in terms of what I look out for.
The fight almost directly onto an Azami. There's a pretty much entirely surrounded Rise. They're able to get one out of it. Geo drops to the ground and gets the take. There's the window fight as well, and Geo's able to lock it in. Shinka, I'm not sure if he knew where Geo was. He's looking for one more fight. The Azami gives him a bit of bulletproof, and he makes things awkward for Rise. The follow through, and has nothing else in his pockets to be able to pop open that wall without being right next to it and punching it. So it suddenly had to turn from a direct line to the side into a direct line to let's see what we can piece together. They still have verticality. Citizen is up there with a bit of a lockdown. Rexon's there too, and he makes a statement. Soniqs bite back and take a round.
Great crossfire. Brilliant crossfire being established by Soniqs, realizing that, hey, if they do push up in towards the main stairs, which is probably likely if you know they can't get through Geo inside a kitchen, because obviously the Azami barriers get placed and it just kind of locks it off. They don't really have the option of, okay, now we have to go above. Great crossfire, one holding from Karaoke, long angle onto the staircase, and then that gives the information over to Citizen, who can then also swing inside a geisha onto the main staircase. Great crossfire, love that. A little bit of play-by-play there from Soniqs.
5-4, Soniqs, they bounce back after the tech timeout and take a round. It's always an important thing to make sure that you can keep the momentum. Going to a site that hadn't been played as well. I mean, obviously, we don't quite get the benefit of being able to sit in and listen to teams on the team talks.
Unless, you know, unless we're not working and we can kind of just, oh, what was that? Just kind of linger, I suppose, is the best way.
The thing is, I know obviously some talent like to sort of sit there and listen to the players. Yep. Do that. I'm always really nervous. I never want to like nervous. Yeah, because you know they're playing for their life.
Playing for their lives. Yeah, if they don't win, they don't get to eat tonight. That's what it is. You heard it here first.
I guess I'm technically talking for my livelihood, but they're playing for their livelihood. I think it's not a crazy statement for me to say theirs is much more nerve-wracking than mine. I think any and all distractions removed at that point. If I was a pro player, and I'm so far from that, if I was a pro player and I saw talent near me, I would throw things at them. Especially you.
Why me?
Before you do another, if you can't play, you can't.
Yeah. Hey, if players want to hate me, then it just means I'm doing my job. You know, if I criticize somebody, it's for a reason. If I don't criticize anyone, we are dealing with the best siege we've ever seen in our lives. But we'll never get to that point because there's always something.
Wow.
No one's perfect. That's the way it is.
Wolves.
Players love me. What are you on?
You Wolves. Wolves, you still have a one-round advantage here. But Soniqs, they're a team that grows into the game. We talked about it before. The way they develop into a series, the way they piece things together.
You can go on a run just in a matter of minutes.
It's always going to turn into a problem the longer a game goes on. And at this point, with both tack times played, it's just down to the fight. Mowgli got a freebie last time. He drifted past this. Isn't offered the same thing, but the mirror window out there, I'm not sure if it's entirely popped open or not, but he does have the range to get it from where he is.
That mirror window, by the way, for anyone knowing, it's not there to get kills. It is literally there to mess up like Thermite breaching or Ace breaching, because you can pop the mirror window and then impact trick it. That's a little trick that you can go for. You'll see it a lot maybe on Clubhouse if we get a chance to see it later on this day. In another match, you might see teams with the mirror try and go for an impact trick on like Casual, for example. So just a little minor thing. It's not there to get kills, don't worry.
First smoke pops down and stops the approach here of Mowgli, but he's not intent on going too much further in. You can see the kit is making its way up the balcony. Shinka with the Thermite's going to see if they can get that open, and as he said, that might get popped in. The grenade from underneath. They're hoping a player potentially stacks up next to it. They're not there, and in fact, they're not even going to open it themselves. It gets popped out, it gets broken, and now the approach comes from under.
See what I mean? Now the Thermite can't open it because he's not going to stand in front of the mirror window knowing that someone's inside a geisha. This is what I'm trying to say. It's not there for kills. It's simply there just to be an annoyance.
And Gio is being as annoying as ever against Wolves right now. The drone starts at whir, and he's tucked himself with a bit of safety as soon as the window got broken open. And there's Rex, and he's pushing back in. The E1D doesn't really do much against him, and he's able to just keep firing. Mowgli dropped out. There was a C4 just to cement the man, but he was already caught out. Look at underneath, bottom of the stairs. Before he was almost about to throw himself up there, I think, but we heard a single pop, and they pulled himself back round. Gio suffered in the engagement as well as B-Boo starts to creep his way, but gets dropped from the back of the chassis. Grixer has him. Gunnar has one more, but it's Shinka that's able to at least get a body back. They have some eyes into the site, but that's still really far away from them. The steps that need to be cracked open here by Wolves are not easy, so instead they go with the hot hop in 15 seconds. You got to pull that out and just try and barrel yourself towards getting this kit face down. There's face down, but it's not in the way that you want. Rise is gone. Shinka, he's looking for one more out the door. He's not going to find it. We are back level.
We are. The mirror window inside Acacia just stopped Wolves in their tracks. Really, really worried about Wolves if that all it takes to stop them is that mirror window trick. That's been around for ages. They should know about that. At that stage, if you deal with that mirror window and you know it's going to be open, obviously you can't put the Thermite charge. You do have the Selmas. Obviously it's tricky with impact tricks can still be a thing.
Yep.
It is a tough one. I mean, it is definitely a tough one to go through. I think at that stage, you then just have to try and seek for nades from below and just honestly just try and jump in double window with somebody also pressuring drum so you don't get swung from drum. I think it has to be like a kind of unison call, whereas as the Selma gets placed, the guy pulls the impact grenade, then everyone rushes him as best you can. That's what I think the solution to that is.
You could see that they tried to get underneath with a grenade. They were trying to play a little bit against it, but the first grenade hit right next to the mirror window.
They thought it was a bandit trick or something like that. That's what they were worried about.
And what you're sort of, I think, trying to work out there is, okay, but didn't Mowgli have eyes?
Exactly. That's what I was literally going to say, but it doesn't make sense because Mowgli knows there's nobody home.
So it seemed like, as you said, they were a little bit stumped, but...
Worried for Wolves. Worried.
We talked about tertiary sites and how powerful they can be. We remember the last time we were here, it was on the back of scrappiness. It was a fight that broke the side. The soft that made things awkward. Again, if they're things that slow down Wolves, all the merrier. I think on the side of Soniqs right now, I'm not sure if the wall is soft once again, just on the side of the site. No, this time it's more familiar. Half of it's soft, half of it's currently loud. They have the mirror window just popped on the quick swing round as well to make things a little bit awkward to get themselves stuck in. You have to force that mirror player out of position if you want to try and drive against that.
Let's just hope that Soniqs can not just throw it away in a matter of instances. Bear from Wolves, they've got that main wall opened up as quick as they can.
That was a lot of Sophia utility there.
It is, but realistically, what else are you going to use it on? You're still bringing in the Ash, you have the backup, you have the nade still as backup. They have money to burn. They're millionaires in the utility department.
P4, he wants to try and approach from underneath. He's concerned about being caught out by a bit of the verticality that's been open, and I think it's being watched by Azami. If he leaves this door, oh no, a little bit further away than that is belied, but up the main stairs, right up towards the house.
He knows.
Player just over on the other side. There's a grenade that's just going to bounce right into this. Goodbye. Oh no, survives. Gio with a sliver of health and a swing round. P4 does find the header one. Grixer does get Mowgli before he's got though. Keeps pushing into Dragon. Citizen has the lockdown on the back end of Frostmat. That's 2 for 2 on the same window. And Citizen gets the push. Gio breakdances with a shotgun. Suddenly Rise is all that's left. He pulled a 3K off the last time they were here to clutch it into a round win. Rexon blinked and you missed it. Rise sure didn't. 10 to 6 and he's looking for the next. But Gio is able to make the wiggle dance work.
He's not real, this guy here. The stuff that he's gotten away with today is incredible. He's a myth. He's a dead man walking. Feels like a ghost. He's tanking nades that I die to all the time. I've died to less.
Geomagics.
My David Copperfield in the flesh.
Is that the only magician you know the name of?
Houdini, Penn and Teller,
okay.
Dynamo.
If anyone, to be fair, actually, if anyone knows a lot about musicians.
Musicians or magicians?
Magicians.
Yeah, you said
it would be you, sorry.
Me? No. I know a lot of stuff, but none of it's useful.
You're a genius. You're self-proclaimed.
Well, I don't mean to brag. I did get the best predictions I've ever won yesterday.
Got CAG wrong.
Everyone got CAG wrong.
Mandy didn't.
But who put G2?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't care that much.
Who put G2? Who said
Alright.
I did. I'm a
These are other
believer.
games. What we have right now is one round separating potentially Soniqs from another 4 points and Wolves another 0. This is still technically the best that they've done, but there's still a bit of a distance to go. Hey, you're pointing at the screen.
Slightly worried about something I'm seeing.
Yeah, go on.
Is Sens.
Why are you worried?
They don't bring a lot. In my opinion, they don't bring a lot in terms of the speed change, which I think was definitely needed, because they were too slow. They were way too slow. I think if you're a 1-speed in this game, it's staff row almost at times, isn't it? You're set up to fail from the get-go. But the gadget is, you can see the idea from it, but all it takes is like one miss throw and it just clusters everything up. I think you need to be really precise in what you're doing with it. So you would like to think that Mowgli has done a good job with, practicing the lineups.
I think we're about to go a little bit quicker than we've got on the previous rounds. The Candelas were slightly prepped there with the throw over. The E1D goes, but it's a bit of a crouch movement behind the back of it. They get the wall open. There was a mirror window there before, but this time they don't fall for it. The push and the pressure on the player just tucked around on the back of Karaoke. The only song that they're singing is, "Oh God, I'm Alive." But Grixer is living! Gets the double Mowgli and P4 caught off on the other side. Suddenly the Sens, as you said, there's an S there. It looks like $1, but the only one that's money right now is Soniqs. Citizen. He's tucked around on the corner, waiting for the approach here from the Thermite. Rise gets caught out on the window. It's just Bibu and Shinka left for Wolves' hopes on anything. A misflow, a misflash, and the blinding lights on anything that they want to have a look at right now. Citizen pulls himself back round. He's looking for the engagement, looking for the pressure. He has all the time in the world. They've slipped their way in towards Geisha, and he slipped his way right out of there, not handing them anything. But look, there's C4s in pocket. There's one less. You've still got one on the guns of Grixer, Rexon, and Grixer either side of a deadly corridor. They're trying to push the pressure onto the player. Geo's now on the stairs with Citizen. They are entirely shaping themselves up around this. The remaining 2 players, nothing they can do right now from the guns of Wolves is going to be quiet. The impact doesn't quite get the trick onto the bit of hard breach. It's popped open, but 2 stories, 2 territories, 2 things they need. What can they take?
Still, if they can maybe get a kill back, he's still a minute to go here, but you really need Soniqs to start give themselves up. And again, I still do worry Soniqs and the refrags I've mentioned before. We've already seen them lose this already today.
There's one more. Shinka gets the trade, and suddenly it's a 3 versus 1. With just about 30 seconds left, they still have the structure, and they still have a mirror window in pocket as well, just in case.
Pocket mirror window.
But I don't think we'll see that. What we'll see is another 4 points. Soniqs, they keep screaming through their games here. Wolves, unfortunately, for the 2nd day in a row, will have to leave tails tucked behind their legs and work out just what can be done to break the massive divide that is starting to open up in this group.
Yeah, great performance again from Soniqs.